How could such an advanced civilization as the Maya have disappeared? Welcome to Collapse, where giants fall. Today, we embark on a journey through time, delving deep into the jungles of Central America, where an ancient civilization once flourished. The Maya built monumental cities, mastered the skies, and even sculpted time itself. At its peak, their civilization rivaled the greatest cultures of the world, leaving behind colossal pyramids, cryptic glyphs, and astronomical knowledge that still baffles us today. But now, centuries later, these majestic temples are swallowed by thick vegetation, and their grand plazas stand empty, untouched by human presence. The once thriving empire is now shrouded in silence, and its great masterpieces are largely forgotten. So, what happened to the Maya civilization? Let's explore the mystery behind their sudden disappearance. Before we dive into this new adventure, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any upcoming revelations. Thank you, and bon voyage! When we think of pre-Columbian civilizations, our minds often drift to images of lost cities hidden under dense jungle canopies, towering pyramids emerging from the greenery, and ancient symbols etched into stone. Among these incredible societies, the Maya civilization holds a particularly significant place in history. To start, it's important to understand the geographical spread of the Maya. Unlike other great empires like the Aztecs or the Incas, the Maya did not have a single capital city or centralized empire. Instead, their civilization spanned a vast and diverse area, including southeastern Mexico, mainly the Yucatan, Chiapas, and Tabasco, much of Guatemala, Belize, northern Honduras, and parts of El Salvador. This vast territory explains the incredible cultural and political diversity within the Maya world. Some of their cities were nestled in tropical jungles, while others thrived on coastal plains or plateaus. Each environment presented its own set of challenges, such as managing water resources, cultivating fertile soil, and building roads to connect distant regions. However, the Maya thrived in these environments, establishing a vast network of trade, cultural exchange, and influence that extended far beyond the borders of their city-states. Historically, the Maya civilization is divided into three major periods: the pre-classic, the classic, and the post-classic. Let's take a journey back to the 19th century, when European explorers, driven by curiosity and a thirst for discovery, ventured into the jungles of Central America. One of the most significant discoveries came in the 1840s when American traveler and writer John Lloyd Stephens, along with artist Frederick Catherwood, began exploring the little-known ruins of Guatemala. Their travels led them deep into the Pend jungle, where dense vegetation had hidden the remnants of a great civilization for centuries. As they battled through vines and thick undergrowth, they were astounded to find themselves standing in front of towering pyramids swallowed by the forest, sprawling for acres in every direction. One such discovery was the ancient city of Tikal, one of the largest Maya cities from the Classic period, once the heart of a vast political and religious network. Stephens and Catherwood marveled at the scale of the pyramids and immediately began documenting their findings. This marked the beginning of Western interest in the rediscovery of the Maya world. By the end of the second millennium BC, semi-nomadic populations in Central America had begun to harness the agricultural potential of the fertile lowlands that would later become the Maya heartland. They cultivated staple crops like maize, beans, and squash, known as the Mesoamerican Triad, which became the nutritional foundation of their society. This agricultural revolution allowed for more permanent settlements, paving the way for the rise of a complex and organized society. Food production provided the necessary stability for these settlements to grow into larger and more culturally significant villages. One of the oldest known Maya sites, Quo in Belize, dates back to around 1200 BC. Archaeological evidence reveals that the Maya at Quo didn't simply cultivate crops, they built structures for religious activities. These early ceremonial platforms, though modest compared to the monumental pyramids that would come later, demonstrated the Mayas' commitment to religion and spiritual practices. As these early villages grew in size and importance, they laid the groundwork for the remarkable Maya civilization. In the coming centuries, their cities would grow into complex urban centers with monumental pyramids, intricate road systems, and a sophisticated understanding of astronomy and timekeeping. However, despite these incredible achievements, the Maya civilization would eventually face a mysterious decline, leaving questions that have puzzled historians and archaeologists for centuries. What caused the Maya civilization to collapse? Could it have been environmental factors, social upheaval, or something more mysterious? The search for answers continues as we explore the rise and fall of one of history's most advanced civilizations. Stay tuned for more insights into this captivating mystery. As the Maya population grew, the need for centralizing key activities, whether political, economic, or religious, became crucial. This gave rise to the development of ceremonial centers, places where villagers would gather not only to worship the gods but also to engage in trade and resolve disputes within the community. These centers served a dual purpose. They were the heart of religious activity and simultaneously strengthened the growing power of leaders or influential families capable of organizing these gatherings. With the establishment of these ceremonial hubs, local hierarchies began to solidify. A new class of elites emerged, claiming religious authority and mythical legitimacy. These individuals held the power to interpret the will of the gods, to observe the skies, and predict the rhythms of nature, skills that granted them unparalleled influence. In this early Maya society, religion and agriculture were intrinsically linked. The survival of the community depended on understanding the cycles of the seasons. A priest or shaman who could predict the rains, or foresee the end of a drought, held immense symbolic power. They were the conduits between the heavens and the earth, using their astronomical knowledge to legitimize their authority and ensure the welfare of the people. As this new social structure formed, a divide began to take shape between those who owned land and valuable resources like obsidian and jade, and those who worked the land in exchange for protection and sustenance. This stratification foreshadowed the rise of a more complex and powerful society that would reach its zenith in the Classic period. Although the art of the pre-Classic period might seem modest compared to the grand frescoes and sculptures that followed, it offers a deep and telling glimpse into the early Maya worldview. Pottery adorned with geometric patterns and animal motifs was not just functional, it was a canvas for the mythology and symbolism that bound the Maya together. These objects illustrated scenes of prosperity and fertility, celebrating the very forces of nature that sustained life. One of the most striking forms of expression was the anthropomorphic figurines, often representing deities of the earth, rain, or corn, elements vital for the survival of the community. These figures were not just religious symbols, they were carefully adorned with jade and elaborate headdresses, suggesting that they were linked to the elite classes or shamanistic figures. Already, the Maya were intertwining the sacred with the political, reflecting the growing complexity of their society. One of the most remarkable innovations of the Maya was their hieroglyphic writing system, unmatched in complexity across pre-Columbian America. But before the grand, intricate script that would define their legacy, the first attempts at written communication were made during the pre-Classic period. Early glyphs, sometimes carved on small stelae or ceramics, have been discovered across Mesoamerica. While the exact meanings of these symbols remain unclear, they are seen by many scholars as the seeds of a writing system that would eventually flourish through cultural exchange, particularly with the Olmecs. This proto-writing system is pivotal in the Maya's history, as it marks the beginning of an organized effort to preserve knowledge. It allowed the Maya to record important religious, political, and historical events, passing them down through generations. This marked a profound shift from oral tradition to written memory, a tool that would propel the Maya civilization into new heights, cementing their place as one of the most advanced societies of the ancient world. The development of writing, along with a profound integration of religion and politics, set the stage for the Maya to record and preserve their complex culture. It was a civilization poised to ascend into the future, built on the wisdom of the past and the power of written knowledge. From the very beginning, the pre-Classic Maya civilization was not isolated. The people of this Central American region were deeply connected with their neighbors, whether local tribes or distant groups. Through trade and exchange, they shared essential resources, ranging from precious raw materials to everyday necessities. Jade, an item of great symbolic importance, was one of the most coveted commodities, revered for its association with life and regeneration, and later with royalty. Obsidian, a volcanic rock, was highly prized for its sharpness and was crafted into tools such as knives, prized for their quality. Salt, indispensable for preserving food and enriching ritualistic practices, was another valuable exchange resource. The Mayas' agricultural abundance, corn, beans, and squash, served as a crucial exchange for these precious materials, establishing a complex and widespread network of trade that spanned from the inland areas to the coasts. These early exchanges were the roots of a civilization whose influence and reach would extend far beyond its immediate geography. A key cultural influence in the development of Maya civilization came from the Olmecs, often regarded as the mother culture of Mesoamerica. From around 1500 BC to 400 BC, the Olmecs shaped the symbolic, religious, and ceremonial traditions that the Maya would later adopt. Known for their mastery of jaguar imagery and deities linked to rain and corn, the Olmecs shared not just artistic inspiration but also monumental ideas, such as their colossal basalt heads, and a worldview focused on the interaction between humanity, nature, and the supernatural. This Olmec influence accelerated the Mayas' own artistic development, with stylistic elements from Olmec culture appearing in early Maya figurines and religious iconography. These early exchanges with the Olmecs and others led to significant advancements in Maya culture, including the beginnings of a writing system and a more complex understanding of the world. In Maya society, corn was far more than just food, it was central to their very identity and cosmology. The Maya believed, as detailed in the Popol Vuh, their sacred text, that the gods created the first humans from corn. This myth underscores how deeply intertwined their survival and identity were with this sacred grain. Corn was consumed in many forms, tortillas, porridge, or mixed into stews, and it was an essential part of ritual life as well. The Maya prayed for good harvests and gave thanks to Mother Earth with offerings of corn, demonstrating how food and spirituality were intricately connected in their daily lives. Women played a vital role in the preparation of corn. They would grind it on stone mills called metats to turn it into dough, which would then be used to prepare meals for the family.
This daily activity, which seamlessly blended ritual and routine, reflected the centrality of corn in Maya culture. As these early sedentary communities settled, their understanding of the natural world became increasingly sophisticated. The Maya recognized the importance of tracking natural cycles to ensure survival. By the pre-classic period, they had developed rudimentary astronomical tools, laying the groundwork for the complex astronomical knowledge that would flourish in later centuries. This early attention to the movements of the stars and the understanding of celestial patterns was vital not just for farming, but for the Mayas' larger spiritual and political life. In these formative years, the Maya were laying the foundations of a great civilization, one that would go on to produce towering pyramids, intricate glyphs, and profound knowledge that would echo through the ages. The early Maya knew that to thrive, they had to master not just the earth beneath their feet, but the skies above them, and in doing so, they began a journey that would change the course of history. As we enter the classic period, the Maya civilization soared to unprecedented heights, marked by their mastery of time, science, and culture. The Maya, ever attuned to the stars and the rhythms of nature, aligned their temples and ceremonial structures with the sun, Venus, and the movements of the cosmos. But these alignments were more than just celestial spectacles, they were practical tools for survival. By observing the heavens, priests and shamans could predict the arrival of rains, determine the best times for planting crops, and prepare for the coming harvests. This deep connection with the sky was not just spiritual, it was integral to their agricultural success and way of life.
The Mayas' early ceremonial platforms, often perfectly aligned with the sunrise or sunset at the equinox, became markers for crucial moments in their agricultural calendar. Over time, their understanding of time evolved into a sophisticated system, leading to the creation of one of the most accurate and intricate calendars in the ancient world, a system that laid the foundation for their complex counting system and cyclical view of time, a hallmark of Maya civilization. The classic period, 250 to 900 AD, is widely regarded as the zenith of the Maya civilization. This era is subdivided into two phases, the early classic, 250 to 600 AD, and the late classic, 600 to 900 AD. During this time, the Maya established a remarkable number of independent city-states, each a hub of political, artistic, and scientific achievement. Cities such as Tikal in Guatemala, Calakmul in Mexico, Palenque in Chiapas, and Copan in Honduras were not only political and religious centers but also beacons of Maya ingenuity and power. Each of these city-states was ruled by a supreme leader, the Kehulajor, or sacred lord. Surrounding the king were high-ranking officials who managed public affairs, oversaw diplomatic relations, and conducted vital religious ceremonies. Priests, the custodians of the Maya's vast esoteric knowledge, played an essential role in interpreting celestial events, ensuring the sacred alignment between the heavens and the earth. Artisans flourished, creating everything from intricately polychromed pottery to fine jade jewelry, monumental stone sculptures, and stucco masterpieces. Merchants traversed vast trade networks, bringing back rare resources like cocoa, obsidian, and quetzal feathers, which symbolized wealth and prestige. At the heart of Maya society were the farmers, the lifeblood of the civilization. They not only worked the land to produce the food that sustained the population, but also contributed their labor to the construction of the grand temples and palaces that defined Maya cities. Their tireless work allowed for the expansion of the population and the flourishing of the Maya civilization. This period of prosperity was in part due to the Maya's skillful use of their environment. The fertility of the tropical soil and the abundance of natural resources provided the foundation for demographic growth. At the same time, the competition for prestige and divine legitimacy drove each royal lineage to outdo the others. The Maya kings adorned their cities with increasingly grand monuments, exquisite art, and sophisticated architecture that became symbols of their power and divine right to rule. Religion, the ever-present force in Maya life, was the cornerstone of royal legitimacy. The Maya believed their rulers were divinely chosen, with the Kehulajor seen as a living link between the gods and the people. Public ceremonies, rich in symbolism and ritual, reinforced the sacred nature of their rule. As dynasties grew in power and influence, the competition between city-states became fierce, each striving to surpass the others in the grandeur of their architecture, the sophistication of their art, and the strength of their alliances. One of the most remarkable achievements of this period was the development of an elaborate writing system. The Maya script, a combination of logograms and syllabic symbols, was used to record both sounds and concepts. These inscriptions, often carved on stelae, large stone monuments, commemorated political events, major ceremonies, and military victories. Through these texts, archaeologists have been able to piece together the history of countless royal families, their alliances, conflicts, and achievements. This written record has allowed us to glimpse into the lives of the Maya rulers, their triumphs, and the extraordinary civilization they built. The classic period was a time of innovation, power, and cultural brilliance. The Maya, with their deep connection to the cosmos and their intricate systems of knowledge, built a civilization that not only thrived, but left an indelible mark on history. They created a world where time itself was sacred, where the heavens and earth were in constant dialogue, and where kings ruled not just with might but with divine authority. As we uncover the marvels of the Maya, we are reminded of the extraordinary achievements of this ancient civilization, and the mysteries that continue to captivate us to this day. As the Maya civilization reached the pinnacle of its grandeur, the precision of their timekeeping and the sacred nature of their writings became foundational to their success. The Maya used a sophisticated calendar system composed of two intertwined cycles, the Tzolkin, a 260-day ritual calendar, and the Hab, a 365-day solar cycle. Together, these two calendars formed a 52-year cycle, a period marked by profound religious and political significance. This dual calendar system wasn't just about tracking time, it was a cosmic dance, an endless cycle of rebirth that governed every aspect of Maya life, from farming to rituals, to the alignment of the stars. But it wasn't just the passage of time that the Maya mastered. They imbued writing with a sacred power, recognizing the written word as a divine conduit between the earthly and the spiritual. Sacred glyphs, carved into stone or preserved on ancient codices, accordion-folded books made of bark, were entrusted solely to priests and scribes, keepers of the mysteries of the cosmos. These learned individuals held the key to recording myths, astronomical knowledge, and the monumental events of their civilization, ensuring that their sacred knowledge was passed down through generations. As we venture into the early classic period, we witness the Mayas' awe-inspiring architectural feats, which soared towards the heavens. The towering step pyramids, the great foundations for temples, and ceremonial spaces that hosted vital rituals were the heart of Maya cities. They skillfully arranged limestone blocks, covered them with stucco, and adorned them with vivid bas-reliefs and frescoes, testament to their mastery of both engineering and artistry. Inside the palaces, built atop raised platforms, royal families lived among intricately designed courtyards and monumental sculptures that depicted gods, ancestors, and the divine power of the ruling class. Maya engineers were just as skilled in the practical arts as they were in the sacred. Water management and soil preservation were crucial to sustaining their society. In areas prone to drought, large-scale canals were constructed to channel water into reservoirs.
In the shared goal of prosperity and regional stability. But like the ebb and flow of the tide, these alliances were not always permanent. Cities often shifted their loyalties as their political and economic interests evolved, leading to fierce rivalries and intense power struggles. One of the most legendary rivalries in Maya history was between Tikal, nestled in the heart of the Guatemalan jungle, and Calakmul, located in the land of Campeche. Both sought to dominate the lucrative trade routes that connected the region, vying for control and influence over neighboring territories. These power struggles led to a fierce but fascinating political landscape, where alliances were forged and broken, cities rose and fell, and each ruler tried to outdo the other with grand monuments and religious influence. Yet, even amid these intense rivalries, the daily life of the Maya was filled with vibrancy and vitality. Markets thrived as bustling hubs of commerce where the finest goods were exchanged. Maize, the sacred grain, was the lifeblood of Maya society, providing sustenance for every family. Alongside maize, beans, squashes, and prized cacao beans were traded. Cacao was reserved for the elite, often used in sacred rituals.
Quetzal feathers, the symbol of nobility and vitality, adorned the headdresses of kings and priests, conferring spiritual presence and prestige. Colorful textiles, woven with intricate designs, were traded among the upper echelons of Maya society, reflecting one's status and affiliation with a particular city-state. Among the most iconic elements of Maya culture was the bull game, or poc-kap. Played on a court framed by towering walls, players had to use their hips, forearms, or even rudimentary bats to keep a rubber ball in play, attempting to send it through a stone hoop. While the game had its playful aspects, it was far more than just a sport. It was deeply symbolic, with spiritual and political significance. Victors were honored, and the game served as a stage for reinforcing royal power, the gods, and the cycles of life. The Maya civilization, with its awe-inspiring architecture, celestial knowledge, and rich cultural life, was one of the most advanced societies in the pre-Columbian Americas. Their legacy continues to captivate and inspire us, reminding us that even the most powerful civilizations must eventually fall. Yet, their achievements remain etched in stone, in the stars, and in the hearts of those who continue to study their mysteries. The Maya civilization was deeply intertwined with the celestial and spiritual forces of the universe, and their belief systems reflected a profound understanding of life, death, and the eternal cycles of nature. The bull game, a cornerstone of Maya culture, was far more than a sport. It embodied the mythological battle between life and death, where heroes faced the challenges of the underworld. In some cases, the fate of the losers was sealed with sacrifice, ensuring the cosmic balance was preserved.
These rituals were not just ceremonial, they were a powerful reflection of the Maya's connection to the divine forces that governed their world. The artisans of the early classic period were masters in their craft, creating stunning statues, intricate masks, and finely detailed figurines. Their works often told stories or carried deep symbolism, reflecting the sacred nature of their society. Jade, a precious material associated with fertility and longevity, was highly valued and was carefully sculpted into pendants and crowns, adorning the elite and sacred leaders. Through these sacred items, the Maya honored their gods, bringing the heavens down to earth in tangible form. In the realms of science, the Maya were true pioneers. Their priests and astronomers were not only spiritual leaders, but also highly skilled in celestial observation. With remarkable precision, they tracked the movements of the moon, sun, and planets, calculating lunar and solar cycles and predicting eclipses. The appearance of Venus was of particular significance, as it influenced the timing of wars and ceremonies. The Maya did not merely observe the stars, they saw them as divine messengers, unlocking the secrets of the universe and guiding their civilization's destiny. Their universe was not a static, flat plane, but a complex, interconnected structure where every element, from the smallest river to the tallest mountain, held cosmic significance. At the heart of their belief system was Xibalba, the underworld, a mysterious realm governed by powerful deities. It was a place of trials and transformation, where souls journeyed after death. The entrances to this underworld were often symbolized by cenotes, mysterious freshwater wells believed to be portals connecting the earthly realm to the gods. Above the underworld was the sacred earth, the center of the cosmos where human life flourished. The Maya cities, designed in perfect harmony with the heavens, were reflections of the sky, organized according to the divine cycles of time. Every tree, river, and mountain acted as a bridge between the celestial and terrestrial, linking the human world to the gods. These sacred spaces were more than just places of habitation, they were the living embodiment of the cosmos. Above it all, in the vast expanse of the sky, resided the great deities, gods of the sun, rain, and stars. Their celestial movements dictated the seasons and rituals that governed the Maya calendar. The sky was not just a distant, empty expanse but a living, breathing domain of power, controlling life on Earth through its seasonal rhythms. Between 600 and 750 AD, the Maya civilization reached its zenith, a time of extraordinary growth and achievement. Cities like Tikal, located in present-day Guatemala, flourished like never before. Tikal alone may have housed tens of thousands of people, perhaps up to 60,000, living in a complex urban environment that was supported by an advanced infrastructure system. The Maya built stone-paved roads, drainage channels, and massive reservoirs to capture rainwater. They understood the critical importance of water, particularly in areas where groundwater was scarce. They dug vast artificial basins, ensuring that water was stored and easily accessible, even during dry seasons. Agriculture was at the heart of Maya society. The Maya practiced slash-and-burn farming, clearing forested areas to make way for crops such as maize, beans, and squash. This method ensured the production of the essential food crops that sustained their growing population. However, in regions where the terrain allowed, the Maya also employed terrace farming to protect the soil from erosion and conserve moisture, demonstrating their deep understanding of sustainable agriculture. The Maya civilization was a marvel of cultural and technological achievement, blending spirituality, science, and art into a harmonious whole. Their knowledge of the cosmos and their ability to manipulate the natural world was nothing short of extraordinary. The grandeur of their cities, the precision of their architecture, and the intricacy of their rituals speak to the greatness of a civilization that, despite its eventual decline, has left an indelible mark on history. As the Maya civilization expanded and prospered, they transformed their landscapes with awe-inspiring monuments and architectural marvels that reflected their power, their devotion to the gods, and their complex societal structure. Towering pyramids and temples were not just structures, they were symbols of the divine authority of the priest-kings who ruled with celestial favor. These monumental feats of engineering and artistry were built to assert power, commemorate military victories, and immortalize religious ceremonies. Each new ruler strived to outdo their predecessors, leaving a lasting mark on the stone to ensure their legacy would never be forgotten. One of the most striking examples of Maya monumentalism is the La Danta Pyramid at El Mirador, standing 72 meters tall. It is not only massive in size, but also an extraordinary feat of pre-classical engineering. Long before the great Maya cities reached their zenith, this colossal structure was built, signaling the emergence of a powerful civilization from the jungle's depths.
The Maya were not just building cities, they were carving their place in the cosmos. During the Classic era, Maya architecture reached its peak. In Tikal, temple for towers over the jungle at nearly 70 meters, symbolizing the political power of the city. Calakmul, Tikal's great rival, boasted pyramids reaching 55 meters in height, reinforcing its dominance. Down in Kopan, the famous hieroglyphic stairway, engraved with thousands of glyphs, testifies to the rulers' desire to preserve their legacy in stone. Meanwhile, cities like Waxactan and Chichen Itza perfected the art of architectural design, with the Pyramid of the Magician and El Castillo, their geometric structures and celestial alignments, showcasing the Mayas' mastery of both mathematics and astronomy. However, behind these architectural triumphs, signs of environmental landscape, using the Earth's natural depressions to create reservoirs and building diversion canals to store the abundant rains. These reservoirs were their lifeline during dry seasons, allowing the Maya to thrive in the face of environmental challenges. However, when prolonged droughts or several years of diminished rainfall occurred, even their most sophisticated systems could not withstand the pressures. As the 7th century drew to a close, signs of decline began to surface. In many cities, the once frequent dedication of monuments and inscriptions decreased significantly, suggesting turbulence within the royal power. Fewer stelae were erected, perhaps due to a lack of resources or internal conflicts. Traces of fire and intentional destruction found in palace complexes hinted at the possibility of revolts or power struggles among the elites.
Excavations at Dos Pillars, a city in the western Piton region, uncovered destruction layers corresponding to violent episodes, perhaps the result of attacks by rival city-states. This marked the beginning of a tumultuous period for the Maya civilization. At its peak, Maya city-states thrived through extensive trade networks, exchanging prestige goods such as jade, marine shells, cocoa, and obsidian over vast distances. The elites, who controlled the distribution of these precious resources, consolidated their power and influence through trade. However, by the middle of the 8th century, a decline in trade flow became evident. The once vibrant networks of exchange faltered as cities grew more isolated, with valuable commodities like jade and shells becoming increasingly scarce. This reduction in trade likely signaled a period of political unrest and instability, further compounding the challenges faced by the Maya. Despite these growing tensions, the Maya continued their religious practices with fervor, determined to preserve cosmic order. Monumental ceremonies, often marked by human sacrifice, became increasingly frequent. These sacrifices were seen as vital to maintaining divine favor and ensuring the prosperity of their cities. The ritual bull game, also known as packet, sometimes ended in bloodshed, symbolizing the regeneration of the world. Captive warriors, bound and helpless, were offered as sacrifices to the gods, their heads presented as trophies to nourish the divine forces. These rituals reflected the growing anxiety within the elite class, fearing that any misstep in their sacred duties could lead to disaster. The Maya elites, under immense pressure, intensified their efforts to hold on to power.
They escalated their religious ceremonies, multiplied their offerings, and waged sacred wars, aimed at capturing prisoners for sacrifice to secure the gods' approval. This increasingly frequent and brutal warfare led to escalating destruction across many major cities. Tikal, Kalitmal, Kopan, and Palenque all vied for dominance, with alliances formed and broken based on the ever-changing tides of war. A military defeat could bring a dynasty to its knees and pave the way for new leadership. As the power struggles intensified, the burden on the Maya population grew heavier. The demand for labor required to defend the cities, build fortifications, repair damage from sieges, and construct monumental structures became relentless. The physical toll on the people was immense. Poorly fed and overworked, they faced unceasing demands from rulers eager to demonstrate their prestige through grandiose building projects. The construction of temples and palaces, while symbolizing royal power, exacted a heavy cost on the laborers who toiled in harsh conditions, often under unfavorable climates that produced disappointing harvests. The constant strain on the populace, coupled with an unrelenting pace of work, led to simmering social tensions. The slightest drop in authority could have explosive consequences, as the balance between the rulers and the people teetered on the edge. The cracks in the system deepened, and as the Maya population grew weary of their relentless burdens, the seeds of conflict were sown. The Maya civilization, with its awe-inspiring achievements and complex society, ultimately faced the consequences of its own grandeur.
The political, environmental, and social pressures weighed heavily on the people, and the once thriving civilization began to show signs of unraveling. Yet, even in the face of decline, the Mayas' contributions to history through their monumental architecture, intricate calendars, and profound understanding of the cosmos continue to inspire awe and fascination to this day. Their story serves as a powerful reminder of the delicate balance between civilization, nature, and the forces that govern us all. As the Maya civilization teetered on the brink of collapse, signs of turmoil began to seep into every corner of their once thriving cities. The grand murals at Bonampak, famous for their vibrant depictions of battle and religious rites, now show a darker side, a world of mutilated and humiliated prisoners. The sacred wars, once symbolic in nature, evolved into brutal campaigns meant to terrorize the enemies. The aim was no longer just conquest, but to break the spirit of rival cities, dismantle their political authority, and destroy their idols, symbols of divine protection. The first cracks in the Mayas' unshakable dominance began with the isolation of key cities that were once bound together by strong alliances and thriving trade routes. What had been vibrant cities, connected by powerful bonds, found themselves left behind. With broken alliances, the vital flow of prestige goods like jade, Quetzal feathers, and painted ceramics came to a sudden halt. The local elites, once able to surround themselves with these precious materials, lost their aura of power and mystique, further fueling the fragmentation of Maya civilization. By the middle of the 8th century, this isolation became starkly evident. Major cities like Köpen, Palenque, and Tikal, once at the height of their glory, saw their monumental inscriptions dry up. The dynastic histories, which had been meticulously carved into stone, ceased. The once vibrant public squares, adorned with steely recounting military victories and divine mandates, fell silent. At Köpen, the last major inscription dated back to 822 AD. After that, the city's monumental history came to an abrupt halt. Palenque experienced a similar decline, with artistic and architectural production ceasing shortly after the death of its greatest rulers. At Tikal, one of the most famous cities of the classic Maya, monumental construction slowed dramatically. Pyramids were left unfinished, palaces stood empty, and the once bustling urban centers became ghost towns. Calakmul, another great center, experienced a similar fate. As royal power faltered, the building projects came to a halt. The construction of temples, palaces, and pyramids, which had once served as symbols of divine power, stopped midway, leaving behind incomplete structures as evidence of the collapse. Archaeologists have found undeniable evidence of the social and economic collapse that took place during this time. Palaces that once housed the elite were abandoned, their grand interiors now serving as makeshift storage spaces. The once ornate art, which had been a reflection of Maya kings' prestige, began to fade, revealing the erosion of both resources and the power of the local elites. The grandeur of their civilization, once expressed through lavish art and monumental architecture, was now slipping into ruin. The political landscape was also shifting. Alliances that had once guaranteed the security of trade and commerce disintegrated.
The precious goods that had once circulated freely now became increasingly rare, further isolating the cities and creating an atmosphere of distrust and tension. With few resources to sustain them, the once flourishing cities were increasingly unable to maintain their power. The Maya world, once unified by the common goal of preserving divine harmony, now found itself in a constant state of political disarray. As the conflicts between cities grew, so did the violence. What had once been ritualized wars for capturing prisoners evolved into brutal territorial struggles. These were no longer ceremonial conflicts, these were wars for survival. Armies, once armed with ceremonial weapons, now wielded obsidian arrowheads, spears, and clubs. The large stone monuments that had once celebrated diplomatic alliances and royal marriages now depicted scenes of kings and nobles captured in battle, their brutal executions serving as a reminder of the growing brutality that accompanied the decline of Maya civilization. In the face of this growing unrest, desperate attempts by the ruling class to restore order were made. Kings initiated new sacred construction projects, even if the materials were scarce. These efforts, however, were often marred by the use of recycled stone or inferior materials, clear signs of the diminishing power and resources of the ruling elite. Despite their best efforts to rekindle the flame of religious fervor and public support, the Maya were unable to halt their inevitable decline. These attempts to rebuild on shaky foundations were not enough to reverse the tide. The Maya world, once vibrant with art, culture, and power, was gradually slipping into the shadows of history. Yet, even in its decline, the Maya civilization left behind a legacy of remarkable achievements, sophisticated writing systems, intricate art, and astronomical knowledge that continue to awe and inspire to this day. The story of their rise and fall serves as a reminder of the fragility of civilizations and the complex interplay between power, resources, and the forces of nature. In the face of relentless decline, the Maya civilization